All right, welcome everybody. James Harnsberger here, Wealth by Design, and boy, am I excited. We are going to get deep in the weeds and really figure this out. And what I want to do is start with just kind of give you an overview. Whatever the life is financially that you desire, wouldn't it be cool if you could just step back and figure out a way that you could design that the way you desire? And that's really what this program is about. So remember, go down to the bottom if you're following me on YouTube and subscribe. Hit the little notification button so you get the updates. Follow me on Facebook. Click that link and go to my page, jamesharnsberger.com, and opt in for the updates and notification. Today, I have a great guest today, and we're going to get into it, tear it up, put it back together, and figure it out. Tina Dixon, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you.
So Tina, I want to start. We talked a little bit before we started this show here, and I just want you to kind of just tell the story and what got you here today.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting you by chance, actually, in the elevator going to a deli. And that was the day that probably changed my
I just
life.
love God's hand when it works.
Yes, definitely. And nothing's by chance. So it was then that me and my husband had relocated here to San Diego from New York, and we came in financial just distraught. We were destroyed.
Hot mess.
Yes. And we had a slew of bad debt, taxes, just so many credit card debts, all kind of things. And it was a slow rebuild of trying to find a way to trust the IRS to help us on our own. But we were going in circles
Right.
pretty much. And we didn't know, we saw all these commercials and things on TV. And I was the one that was willing to take a chance, but I was always reluctant because it just seemed so commercial.
Right.
So the day that my husband actually met your spouse, your wife, they hit it off. And so he came back all excited and eager about meeting you guys. And then I was like, okay, we'll go meet them. And we came to your office, and something said to me, because of where I come from, this is too good to be true. No, what's the catch? And I honestly kept saying, I don't know. What's the catch? And it was literally exactly word for word with even more um, than we expected during cleaning up our back taxes and getting us in a stable situation so we didn't lose the little that we did
Right,
have. And
right.
that was mostly important because that was what we were afraid of, trying to build and then having it snatched away.
Right.
So since we've been with you, which is great because it's like early here in San Diego, in our time here in San Diego, it's been great because we felt some sense of security in that area where, okay, we can still continue to pay off our bills, but at the same time, we can feel safe and make sure that we can eat next month.
Right.
You understand?
Big deal, right?
We want to be
Yeah,
able to eat.
Big deal.
And sometimes the IRS, not to knock them in any way in that sense, but I don't think they are really concerned about whether you feed your family or
Right.
not. And I am. So
Right.
I thank you and your firm for just like everything up until this point. And then now it's just, like I said, nothing's by coincidence. We come through this time of now a pandemic.
Right.
A lot has happened since we came here to San Diego. We've had some family tragedies. We've had a lot that have occurred. And one thing I know that is critical, as I had an opportunity to sit in quarantine, was to look at what was actually going on in our systems, our economic systems. And I found out that I was looking at this all wrong, but I didn't know how to even approach this. So I just started listening to World Economic Forums and things like that. And then I even got more afraid. So I was like, okay.
That didn't help.
And so This is wealth by design, but it also is divine intervention for me because I'm literally at the point where how do I build intrinsic value for our later years? Because we don't have a lot of lifetime on this planet.
Right.
But I do know that my grandkids and my kids, and I just want to leave something
Right.
tangible.
Legacy. Right.
Yes, that's very important. And in my community from Brooklyn, New York, they didn't teach us that
Yeah.
in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It was as soon as you get it, spend it month to month. If you did that,
Right. I grew up in Barrio Logan here in San Diego, and
yes,
same thing, you know.
yes,
And a lot of times, just getting fresh milk was a treat, you know.
yes,
So, you know, kind
absolutely,
of. So, is it fair to say that probably a good part of the country right now is sitting on the sideline, wondering what to do, confused?
absolutely,
Yeah. So I think the value in at least what we've created with the platform of Wealth by Design is it's a gateway, and it's sort of like walking through the gate and looking around at all of the different things that you can pick and choose from that are important to you in how you want to design your financial life, how you want to design your wealth. And what I've learned over the years is there's no one way to do that, but everybody that does it their way. Would that be a fair thing to say?
absolutely, yes,
So you had a chance to review a little bit of the material. And what's
yes,
cool about having you on the show and what's cool about getting started today
I did.
is that you haven't had any exposure to any of the coaching programs like some of the other clients. You haven't been in any of the beta test groups that we did to try to test this stuff over the last 5 years.
Wow,
So this is all like a fresh, clean slate for you learning the first time what this is all about. So it's kind of exciting for me too. Give me a little bit of your impression or your feedback when you started putting this all together and learning more about the program and how it worked and our little conversation. Give me a little bit of that feedback because I want everybody to hear what you have to say.
about your material and the
Yeah,
curriculum.
yeah,
Wow. So honestly, I was in awe once I was not aware what this was going to be about, to be honest, in its detail. And then once I opened up the publications and I started seeing what you had given, the member access to, I was I was like, wait a minute. Wait, did I really like I've been praying like this whole 2020 of how to navigate and what would be the best way. Who could I model, basically? And I'm totally lost and I'm afraid.
right,
There's a lot at stake in regards to special needs trust
right,
and retirement savings and just a whole lot of things that's occurring that we could lose. And I don't, it would be such a tragedy knowing the information and just not putting additional effort, not waiting for some system or someone to come to my rescue.
right,
This is the time where we have to come to our own rescue in order to be able to help others. That's the only way that this is going to work. Because uh, it, there has to be representatives out of the norms.
right. I agree.
There has to be. And and when you start to see these faces that are transparent and real and really want to help,
Right,
we need to see more of that. And so the blessing is if the opportunity is given to me, you don't use it and exploit it, but you do something to give back.
right.
And maybe that's something to help the planet or feed people or any
Pay it
way,
forward.
but you pay it
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
And so, yes, I want for my own reasons, I do want intrinsic value. I do want to build a legacy. But at the same time, while I'm here, I need to be able to help those around me that really just they don't know.
right,
And
right.
so I'm going to learn from you, but I'm going to share it at
Yeah,
some point once I have shown evidence-based,
awesome,
you know.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the proof, that's really the proof. And it's like we were talking before we started shooting, was that a coach, for example, what a coach will do in your life, and coaching is important. I think there are appropriate times when people need or could benefit from a coach. And generally, what a coach does is they point out what and how to do something.
Yes.
It might be yoga, it might be cooking, it might be desserts, it might be exercise program. It could be any number of things where a coach shows you what and how to do. What we've created through Wealth by Design is we've created a mentoring. And that's a very different thing, as I was explaining, because in a mentoring relationship, it's about creating an experience. So it's one thing to say, here's the tool and how to do a budget. Here's the tool and how to plan a retirement plan. Here's the tool and how to invest in real estate. It's quite a different thing to create an experience where you're actually doing. What do you think about that?
I've never experienced it, but it does the sound of it.
It's
My
awesome.
pressure's going.
It's awesome. All right, let's dive in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Let me throw a couple of things at you and just get your initial reaction. And this is stuff on money, because this is the stuff that I remember as a kid growing up. I mean, it was just crazy. I look back now and I thought, geez, that's just crazy making. When I look at it right now with a different perspective, generally the notion is, let's just take day to day, month to month. The notion is if you plan a budget and you've got so much money coming in and that's what you work with, then the notion is, well, I have to reduce spending here or maybe trim my spending there. And you start shrinking down the things that you desire to fit the money that's coming in, right? That's generally the approach that I've taken, everybody takes.
Yeah.
We sort of flip that around. First, in one of our programs that I'll talk a little bit about today, we come up with a very basic, straight to the point. This is a different way of thinking. What if we took the approach that we told our money where to go so we don't have to ask where it went?
I have no idea where my money goes.
So, and do you think that most of this country probably is in that same feeling?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah. So what I mean by tell our money where to go so we don't ask where it went, well, I'm going to tell this part of my money to go to my mortgage. I'm going to tell this part of my money to go to my taxes. But we're still caught in that dilemma, right? We're still caught in that dilemma. We've got so much that comes in and so much that goes out, and then whatever's left, we try to save. And that model, in my opinion, is outdated. I think that model died 30 years ago.
Yes.
Because we're in a new economy.
Yes.
We're moving from a mass society and deeply into a network society.
Absolutely.
You got more stuff on your phone. I mean, if I bought all the things that your phone could do, we'd fill this counter like
Yes.
five-fold high, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
And so the confusion that you're talking about is, where do I start? How does it work? I don't even know the question. So let's talk about that. What's some of the frustration that you've had trying to figure that out?
One of the frustrations that I have is that I didn't learn my lesson in 2008.
Okay.
That was a valuable time that I could have taken lessons of the loss that occurred, and instead I still focused on the buying end of it. I
Okay.
was a big consumer.
Okay.
And so I did not value money the way that I should have. So I really probably didn't care where it went.
Okay.
As long as I got something to fill that void, I was fine. Then we come to a point where there's so much debt to ratio. It was insane.
Right.
Like, you would think that I was making hundreds of $1,000s the way that I was living,
Right.
but by no means I wasn't. And I was banking on academic accolades at some point to get me to a certain level, and it didn't. It backfired.
Right.
So that's what I got caught in. So then I wind up owing like $100,000 in student loan debt. Uh, then taxes and all of these things that started coming up, and my paycheck started looking smaller and smaller. My savings got smaller and smaller. The credit cards got more and more, and it just spiraled out of control.
Right.
So I understood that my frustration was I didn't have respect for money. Now my frustration is now that I know what money value truly is, how do you run like heck away from the flames? Because
Right.
it's flaming.
Okay. Okay.
And my frustration is I don't know how to navigate it to be able to eat.
Right.
Because we will be experiencing, I believe, something on a major scale. And if we're not in the right place at the right times, I think, and don't follow the people that have experience with this, then no one's gonna, it's just you're gonna be left to your own devices trying to figure out how to even just make a living.
That's a lonely place.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
And so it's frightening.
Yeah. What if I told you that part of the philosophy behind Wealth by Design is a combination of a couple of factors? One, belief in exercising the pay it forward philosophy.
Yes.
Two, collecting and assembling a team of experts across every professional field that you could imagine: lawyers, accountants, financial advisors, retirement advisors, insurance advisors, business advisors, and put that team of people together all over the country. And their commitment is to be able to have a conversation with people like yourself that you can pick up the phone and ask a question and you're not going to get a bill for the time. Okay. And what if I told you that part of the program in the platform created a situation where you could watch a 5 or 10-minute video on step one of telling your money where to go? Some people call it a budget, but budgets don't work if they're not designed with this in mind.
Right. I don't know how to do that.
And so if we don't know how to do that, and you can enter into that gateway that I'm talking about,
Yes.
right? And you can see it, and there's an outcome that's defined, and then you can create it in any way that you want. See, that's the thing. I believe it is your birthright, it's my birthright, it's everybody's birthright to be rich. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's
I think
not.
good people can do dumb things. I do
Yes.
believe that.
Yes.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with being wealthy or rich, especially if you're creating jobs and legacy and providing for your family. So I just want to push that aside, ignore that, because that's nonsense.
Right.
What I believe is that we all owe something to each other in terms of helping people understand how this works, because it's confusing. And if you don't know how it works, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at coaching, it's still not going to work because you don't know how it works.
That's true.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What if you had that gateway and it had all of that there just for your picking and choosing?
Wow. That is bigger than I can even imagine in this lifetime of mine, because this opportunity has never presented itself for me. Even in an MBA program, it really doesn't, it's not designed, it will teach you how to create organizations and companies in a sense, but not on an individual level.
No, it's all 30,000 feet.
Structures,
Yeah, the
yes.
structures.
And so that's what I've learned. I don't, as a healthcare administrator, but this here, I've never individually had anyone look. I've had people, I have those, what do you, the brokers from like Diversify,
Oh, yeah,
those
yeah.
places like that. And yeah, I've had plenty of them, and calling, it's kind of almost the same spiel, like, oh, don't worry, you have nothing to worry about, we wouldn't let that happen. But that's not definitive, and you're not giving me, sending me the graphs. It doesn't,
A
half those
lot of
graphs, I
fur,
don't
but
even
there's no
understand
meat.
it. So, right. And I'm like, okay, so exactly what is it happening, and exactly where are these places across the globe that
Right,
this money is going to?
right,
I don't know who particular. I'm not even going to mention any associations, but there are some big associations that I still don't know what they do to this day.
right.
And where's that money? Because it's gone.
Yeah, and that's confusing.
So I'm very confused on who to trust.
Right,
I know that I'm grateful that it's your firm, because I already established an alliance with you, and I already have trust with you, and you've already helped us in so many situations.
right.
So why would I not? I would be insane not to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm running. I got my
Good.
sneakers on.
I love that. All right. Here's what I want to do now, and we're going to kind of bring down this first segment, and then we'll come back. Just for those of you watching, each week you're going to get one new segment. So we're going to be doing 3 different interviews here with Tina, and each is designed to take you another step in the process to help you see and watch sort of like the flower opening, if you will. And what's going to be inside are those pearls of wisdom, those tools that you can use. But we want to give enough context and background so that you can at least have a little bit of an appreciation that we're all feeling the same thing.
Yes.
This COVID thing was like a gut punch for everybody.
Yes.
Right? And we're just, and I don't want to get into the election and the
No, no,
nonsense
no,
and
no.
blah, blah, blah. Just no. What we have right now is we have most of this country in a position that they're very confused. And probably a lot of them have a lot of fear of uncertainty. And I think what we all have an obligation to do in helping each other is let's focus on the things that we have in common that we can work on that get us to the next step, and adopt this philosophy of paying it forward.
I like that.
I believe truly that one of the gateways to success, and however you want to measure that, is part of your life is lived paying things forward.
Yes.
Because if you can't do that, then you're what do you have? I mean, you don't have anything.
Nothing.
And so that's part of the philosophy that we've adopted in Wealth by Design. This is not about money. This is about your life, people that have made it through tough times and how they've done that.
Yes.
So we can bring that together, share that with the world, and help them see. It's sort of like my belief that if you don't have hope, you can't ever have faith.
Correct.
And if you lose hope, then you lose faith, right? We don't want to do that. And I think it was Cicero that said something to the effect that, of all the human virtues, the gateway to all human virtue was gratitude. Okay? Every other human virtue is subordinate to gratitude and being grateful. And oftentimes we get caught focused on our budget or focused on our retirement plan, thinking about, I don't have this, I don't have that. What we're trying to do, and what we are doing, is we're showing you a way to look at things as your birthright to design your life financially any way that you choose. And nobody has a right to tell you not to do that. And that's kind of a big deal the way I look at it.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
That's something new.
Yeah. That's a different way of thinking. The generations that are coming up behind me, behind your generation,
Yes.
my fear for them is that who is there to help them figure out some of this stuff and how it really works, because they're so dependent on the technology, right?
Absolutely.
And that's good. I mean, I still struggle with email, for God's sake, but at some point, how do you make it work? And it's not about making money, it's about keeping the money that you have and making it work for you, right?
Yes.
And wealth is different than being rich. Wealth is about sustainability and accumulation. One of my favorite books is The Richest Man in Babylon. It's on my reading list. When you go in and log in, you'll
Yeah.
see my favorite books. And the cool thing about it, and I'll give you the analogy as we kind of wrap up this segment. If you have one gold coin, a wealthy person figures out how to accumulate and add more to what they already have and get another gold coin,
Yes.
right? A rich person walks around jingling the gold coins. And rich is on the way to being wealthy, but wealth is sustainable. It's legacy.
Right.
It's leaving our children and our grandchildren
Yes.
something that demonstrates a life's work of what we've done, and they're in a better position than we were when we got into that position.
And that is the design it's supposed to be. As
Yeah,
we
and you
shift
can design
generations,
that.
we supposed to be able to, as each generation evolves, it's supposed to be a better
Better off.
situation. However, at this point, it doesn't look that way for them.
And some days it doesn't feel that way.
And it doesn't feel that way. So we can create that once we kind of sift through the noise,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Cool. That's awesome. All right. So we're going to wrap this segment. Again, make sure you subscribe, follow me on YouTube, hit the little notification button so you get all the notifications. Follow me on Facebook, hit that link, go to my page, jamesharnsberger.com, opt in for the update notification. We're rolling this out very soon. Here's the cool thing. It's free. I mean, free. You get to go in, subscribe, use the tools, whatever, look at the programs, look at all the things that we've got, watch the videos. But here's the cool thing. Wouldn't it be cool if you could live your life and design the financial life you most desire?
Yes.
That's what this is about. This is James Harnsberger, Wealth by Design. I will see you on the next segment.